In 2011, a Chinese company that nobody outside of tech forums had ever heard of launched its first smartphone. There was no advertising budget, no celebrity endorsement, no television campaign. The CEO wore a $4 black t-shirt on stage, deliberate cosplay of Steve Jobs, and revealed a price that made the audience go completely silent. Then they erupted. 3 seconds of stunned disbelief, then a full 30 seconds of screaming. 300,000 phones sold out in 5 minutes. By 2024, that company was the third largest smartphone manufacturer on Earth, shipping more phones than Xiaomi had engineers when they launched. And now, they've built a car that's outselling Tesla in China. This is how a teacher's son from one of the poorest provinces in China built the company they call the Apple of the East. Lei Jun was born in 1969 in Xiantao, a small city in Hubei province, central China. His parents were both teachers, a profession that, in the years after the Cultural Revolution, carried low pay and lower social status. His father earned the equivalent of $7 a month. But the house was full of ideas. From the time he was a small child, Lei Jun took things apart to understand how they worked. He disassembled radios. He built his village's first electric lamp using 2 batteries, a wooden box he made himself, and some wire. The neighbors came to look at it like it was a miracle. At university in Wuhan, something extraordinary happened. The computer science program was supposed to take 4 years. Lei Jun finished every credit in 2. Not because he was rushing, because he couldn't stop. He wrote an encryption program as his graduation project, so sophisticated, the university library asked to keep a copy permanently. He was 20 years old. He also stumbled across a biography of Steve Jobs. He read it twice. He underlined passages. He told friends he was going to build something that would change the world. Then he got a job in Beijing and spent 16 years trying to figure out how. In 1992, Lei Jun joined Kingsoft, China's answer to Microsoft, as its 6th employee. He worked 16-hour days. He was hospitalized once with tuberculosis from exhaustion. He kept working. By 28, he was CEO. He spent a decade battling Microsoft directly, competing for the office software market in the country Microsoft desperately wanted to own. It was a war he could never quite win. Windows came bundled on every PC sold in China. Kingsoft fought for every percentage point. He got Kingsoft to its IPO on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange in 2007. The company raised nearly $100 million. It should have been the crowning moment of his career. Instead, it felt like defeat. "We battled Microsoft for 16 years, he later said. We held our ground, but we lost the golden 10 years of the internet. He resigned 2 months after the IPO, citing health reasons. He was 38 years old. He was financially comfortable, he was exhausted, and he had an unfinished dream that was eating him alive. For the next 3 years, Lei Jun became one of China's most successful angel investors. He backed a gaming and streaming platform called YYY with $1 million. When it went public, that stake was worth $129 million. He invested in dozens of startups across mobile, e-commerce, and social media. He was good at it, very good at it. And it wasn't enough. In 2010, at the age of 40, he gathered a group of engineers around a table in a small apartment in Beijing. 7 co-founders, including a former Google executive named Lin Bin. They ate together, they talked about what they wanted to build. Lei Jun said he wanted to make the best smartphones in the world and sell them at a price that ordinary people could actually afford. He said the hardware profit margin would never exceed 5%, not as a gimmick, as a philosophy. Phones, he believed, should be a gateway. The money would come from the services, the ecosystem, the community of people who use the products every day. Everyone around the table said yes. They called the company Xiaomi. Little rice in Mandarin. Here's where things get interesting. Most phone companies build a phone, then find customers for it. Xiaomi did it backwards. Before they made a single piece of hardware, they built MIUI, a free, customized operating system for Android phones. They sent an email to 100 tech enthusiasts around the world, asking them to test it. American college students, European programmers, developers in Southeast Asia. Within weeks, people were downloading it, translating it, building community forums around it. Every Friday, MIUI released a new update. Every week, the users filed bug reports, requested features, debated changes. They were building the software together. By the time Xiaomi was ready to launch a phone, they had 500,000 people who felt personally invested in its success. That's not a customer base, that's a movement. August 16th, 2011, the 798 Art District in Beijing, a deliberately cheap venue, no advertising spend. Every invitation had been sent by a Xiaomi employee personally, one phone call or email at a time. Lei Jun walked on stage in a $4 black t-shirt he'd borrowed from a fashion brand for the event. The crowd immediately started chanting Laibos, a portmanteau of his name and jobs. He introduced the phone feature by feature like a man who had reviewed every one of the 96 presentation slides so many times he could recite them in his sleep. Then he clicked to the price slide. On the screen, 1990 yuan, about $310. A phone with specs that matched the best Samsung and Apple had to offer, at roughly half the price. The room didn't react. Not for 3 full seconds, which on video looks like an eternity. Then it erupted. The first 300,000 units sold out in 5 minutes. Industry executives from every major phone company in China studied the footage. They couldn't figure out how it had happened. No advertising, no distribution network, no retail stores. Just a phone that was genuinely remarkable, at a price that felt like a mistake, sold to 500,000 people who already believed in it before it existed. For the next 4 years, Xiaomi grew faster than almost any company in Chinese history. By 2014, it was the most valuable startup in the world. A $45 billion valuation in just 4 years. It had expanded to India, where flash sales crashed the website because so many people were trying to buy at the same time. Then it hit a wall. In 2015, Oppo and Vivo, Xiaomi's domestic rivals, quietly built 200,000 physical stores across rural China. In Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, in places where the internet was slow and people wanted to hold a phone before they bought one, they paid store owners higher commissions. They signed Leonardo DiCaprio. They planted billboards across every road in the country. Xiaomi had built its empire online and ignored the 80% of the market that still shopped in person. In 2016, Xiaomi's growth collapsed. Lei Jun admitted publicly that the company had grown too fast. The $45 billion valuation looked increasingly like a fairy tale. Competitors were eating its market share from below. Huawei was eating it from above. He rebuilt, opened offline stores, redesigned the product line, focused on the Internet of Things, smart home devices, air purifiers, rice cookers, electric scooters, all connected through the Xiaomi ecosystem. By 2018, the comeback was real. But nothing prepared anyone for what came next. In March 2024, Lei Jun, visibly thinner, having spent 3 years on a project he described as the last great entrepreneurial effort of his life, walked onto a stage and unveiled the Xiaomi SU7, an electric car, a car with faster acceleration than a Porsche Taycan and longer range than a Tesla Model S, priced 30,000 yuan cheaper than a Model 3. 10,000 orders arrived in the first 4 minutes. The entire first year's production sold out the same day. 3,400 engineers, 10 billion yuan in R&D. 3 years of work. And another 30-second eruption of disbelief from a crowd that had seen this man do the impossible before. The boy who made his village's first electric lamp with a wooden box and 2 batteries grew up to sell phones to billions of people and build a car that made the world's most famous EV company lower its prices. He always said he wanted to make good things affordable. He never stopped trying to figure out what the next good thing was.